The allure of Christianity's prophecies lies in their enigmatic and timeless quality, often interwoven with themes of salvation, redemption, and the ultimate battle between good and evil. And now, hidden in the sands of time, a prophecy shrouded in mystery awaits its unveiling. Join us as we embark on a journey into the depths of Revelation, exploring the enigma that is the end-time prophecy. Why is the third temple so important? Uncover the secrets that have echoed through the ages, for the time has come to reveal the truth. Some people fear that the world is about to end, and they assert that the solution lies in a covert undertaking now underway in Jerusalem. We're talking about the Third Temple, a place of immense significance that has been at the heart of conflicts and prophecies for thousands of years. This temple is said to be the ultimate and splendid house of God, where the Messiah will come to rule. But what if the Third Temple isn't what we expect it to be? By some portion of people, what if instead of being a holy place, it conceals a sinister plot that could bring unimaginable horrors to our world? In Christian teachings about the end of the world, there's a belief that a third holy temple will be constructed in Jerusalem during a time known as the End Days. According to this idea, the Third Temple is expected to be built before a significant event called the Biblical Apocalypse, which is essentially a time of great change and upheaval. The concept of a Third Temple holds a unique and spiritual significance in Christianity, particularly among some Christian groups who believe in its future construction. This anticipated temple is often associated with biblical prophecies, especially in the book of Revelation. Many Christians believe that the Third Temple's construction will signify the fulfillment of God's divine plan and the second coming of Jesus Christ. It is seen as a symbol of God's presence among His people and a place of worship and spiritual connection. While interpretations may vary among denominations, the Third Temple remains a sacred and eagerly anticipated element of Christian eschatology, representing hope, redemption, and a deeper connection to God. In simpler terms, they think that the building of this temple plays a crucial role in the return of Jesus and the final events in Christian eschatology, which are the teachings about the end of the world. This is serious, not a joke or conspiracy theory. It's a reality that could change everything. So keep paying attention because you wouldn't want to miss this. As days go by, some predictions about the end of the world seem to be coming true. Other strange predictions that appear to be happening include the Euphrates River drying up and the reopening of the Siloam Pool. Jerusalem in particular continues to be a focal point. People from various global religions gather there, keeping an eye out for the construction of the Third Temple. This event is significant in prophecy. The temple in Jerusalem, which played a crucial role in early Jewish history, is referred to as the Third Temple. It's a topic of great importance and interest. In a future where the past temples are restored, it would be like connecting the dots between three special places. Imagine it's a bit like connecting your first house to your second house, and then to a super special third house. Since 1987, there's been a movement called the Temple Movement that wants to rebuild the Third Temple. They've been working on this idea, and it's been moving forward, but slowly. In today's world, many Jewish people in Israel and around the world are not very religious. However, Orthodox Jews who are very religious think that only they should be in charge of rebuilding the temple because they see it as a spiritual task. These Orthodox Jews also brought back the Sanhedrin, a religious group that deals with the legal matters related to the temple, and they want to make sure the temple is rebuilt correctly according to their beliefs. For Orthodox Jews, rebuilding the temple holds immense significance because they believe it plays a pivotal role in bringing about the world's redemption. They're convinced that true redemption can only occur once the temple stands again. Gershon Solomon serves as the director of the Temple Mount Faithful, an organization dedicated to preparing Israeli society for the rebuilding of the temple. They do this by staging demonstrations at the temple site, laying the foundation stone for the Third Temple, and crafting various temple-related items. Solomon passionately expresses, "Building the third temple is a crucial step towards fulfilling the destiny of the people of the Bible in the land of the Bible. I can't envision the state of Israel or Israeli life without the Temple Mount at its heart." In Jerusalem, there's a belief that Israel's adversaries hold global control and aim to eliminate evil. However, for Christians, it's simpler. They think Jesus Christ was the Messiah who came once and will return to end the world's troubles. To make this happen, certain biblical prophecies need to come true. One significant prophecy is the reconstruction of the Third Temple, seen as a crucial step by some. Jews eagerly await this event, as it's believed to lead to the complete redemption of their people in their homeland. Garrison Solomon insists that the Temple Mount is vital for Israel's existence and way of life. Without it, he can't imagine an Israeli state thriving. The people are dedicated to getting Israel ready for the rebuilding of the temple. They made tools for the temple, placed a special cornerstone for the third temple, and even planned protests at the temple site. Why? Because Solomon believes that constructing the third temple is incredibly important for bringing back the Israelites to their historic homeland. He thinks that the Temple Mount is essential for the survival of Israel and its people. Let's now talk about the first and second temples. The first house was destroyed a very long time ago, way back in 586 BCE, by the Babylonians. The people didn't give up, and they built a second house in the 6th century BCE. King Herod later made it even fancier. However, the Romans came along in 70 CE and destroyed it. A question can be asked here. Why does this matter hold such significance? Well, in Jewish beliefs, building this third house, known as the Third Temple, is super important. It's like a big deal, as we told you earlier. Also, they think it will bring about something called the Messianic Age. That's when they believe a special person called the Messiah will come and do some really cool things, like making everything better. So building this third temple is a big part of their hopes and beliefs. These prophecies, rooted in biblical texts, have captivated audiences with their cryptic symbolism and the promise of divine intervention. In stories like Endgame, the incorporation of Christian elements can evoke a sense of wonder and fascination, adding depth to the narrative as characters grapple with destiny, faith, and the intricate interplay of supernatural forces. It is this enduring mystique that continues to make Christianity a compelling and beloved aspect of storytelling, inviting audiences to contemplate the profound mysteries of human existence and the eternal. In 1987, a student of Rabbi Kahn took a significant step by creating the Temple Institute. This institute has been working hard to speed up the construction of the temple. They've gathered various equipment and items needed for the temple, like the golden menorah, a special table for showbread, and the altar for burning incense. They've also trained people who will serve in the temple. The golden menorah is a particularly remarkable item, made of 95 pounds of pure gold and worth more than $2 million. Right now, it's on display in Jerusalem, facing the Western Wall Plaza. This menorah is historically significant because it has been challenging to recreate it. After the Second Temple fell, the Roman Empire took the original menorah. We know this because there's an engraving of it on the Arch of Titus in Rome. This suggests that the original menorah might still exist somewhere. Today, the Temple Institute has made an incredible discovery: the Ark of the Covenant, a priceless Jewish relic. The last time anyone saw it was in King Solomon's temple. But since then, 3 Jewish individuals, 2 rabbis and a Jewish activist, have provided evidence that it still exists. Now, several organizations are working to influence Israeli society and gather support for rebuilding the Third Temple. They use various tactics like protests, lobbying for changes in laws, and even creating temple-related objects. However, there are significant challenges preventing the construction of the Temple Mount. Rebuilding the temple is a complex and sensitive matter. It carries consequences for religious beliefs, politics, and culture. It's crucial to remember that the campaign for the Third Temple comes into contact with Muslims at a crucial point. This is because the Temple Mount holds immense significance for various religious traditions, including Islam. In simpler terms, people have found the Ark of the Covenant, which is very important to Jewish history. Some are trying to build a new temple, but this is not easy. It's not just about religion, it involves politics and culture, and it's a sensitive topic because it affects many different religious groups, including Muslims. In the place where there used to be ancient temples on the southern end of the Temple Mount, there are now two important Islamic buildings. One is the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is considered the third holiest mosque in Islam. In the middle of the area, you can see the Dome of the Rock, known for its golden dome. Muslims believe that Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven from the Al-Aqsa Mosque during the special journey at night. Because of this belief, any plans to rebuild a Jewish temple in this location would likely require complex agreements and debates among the different groups involved. The chances of the Third Temple coexisting alongside these Islamic structures seem very unlikely. The Israeli government has even stated that the Dome of the Rock would need to be demolished for this to happen. This exciting development is sure to ignite more discussions and add to the strong feelings already tied to this topic. Are you ready for the big reveal? The temple in Jerusalem, believed to be created by God, plays a crucial role in biblical history and prophecy. After the Second Temple was destroyed in AD 70, leaving no trace, many Bible scholars have pondered the idea of its future reconstruction. According to Scripture, it's suggested that the end-time sacrifices will resume, leading to the belief that the temple must be rebuilt for this prophecy to come true. Before we talk about building the Third Temple on the Temple Mount, let's understand that there's a big dispute that happened in this place. Some people want to create a new Jewish worship area there. In 2022, the Israeli government agreed to this idea. Some folks thought it was a step towards rebuilding the Third Temple. In November 2022, they even approved a plan to build a Jewish prayer area and a visitor center on the southern side of the mount. But here's the tricky part. Palestinians consider the Temple Mount very sacred, and they didn't like this plan at all. People have looked at ancient prophecies to try and predict the future, and it's interesting because there's a growing interest in them. Why? Because time is running out, and it's changing how things might turn out in the end. In many religions, it's believed that we're currently living in a significant time, often referred to as the final days. One interesting aspect of this belief is the concept of the Third Temple. The Third Temple is expected to be constructed during these last days, as predicted in various religious texts. What's intriguing is that these texts also mention the arrival of an ominous figure known as the Antichrist, or the Son of Perdition. This individual is said to have invaded the Third Temple and forced the people of God to leave. After this troubling event, the prophecy foretells the coming of the Messiah, who will triumph over these adversaries with righteousness. You can find this prophecy described in the book of Daniel. Now, what's surprising is that not all Christians feel the need for the Third Temple to be built. They believe that worshiping God doesn't necessarily require a physical temple. Interestingly, Jesus once spoke to a Samaritan woman, warning her that a time would come when God's people would worship in spirit rather than in specific physical locations like Jerusalem or Mount Gerizim. As the debate about constructing the Third Temple continues, it's wise for everyone to be prepared for whatever the future may bring, because no one can accurately predict when these significant events will unfold. While most of our attention is focused on the historical temples, there's a curious idea that keeps popping up in discussions: the possibility of a Third Temple. Although the biblical texts don't give us a clear blueprint, they drop hints and use metaphors that have scholars and believers intrigued. Some speculate that before Jesus Christ returned to earth, the Jewish people might have built another temple in Jerusalem. This belief is rooted in passages from the book of Daniel. In Daniel chapter 8, verses 9 through 14, there's talk of a small horn causing the cessation of daily offerings. Some interpret this small horn as a false religious authority aligning with a powerful governing force known as the beast. Additionally, in Daniel chapter 12, verse 11, there's mention of the removal of the daily sacrifice. These passages have led some to believe that a temple might be constructed where these sacrifices can be reinstated. Adding to this, Jesus himself made a prediction about an end-time abomination of desolation standing in the holy place before his return in Matthew 24:15. So, the idea of a third temple isn't just a curiosity. It's tied to interpretations of these ancient texts and prophetic visions. Some people think that the passage you mentioned might be talking about building a new temple, but it could also be referring to the altar on the Temple Mount. It's possible that sacrifices could continue without needing to construct a physical temple like they did before the second temple was built. In the book of Ezekiel, specifically chapters 40 to 48, there's a description of a temple. However, figuring out when this temple will be built has been quite challenging. Some suggest it could be during the millennial reign of Christ, a 1,000-year period when he is believed to rule on earth. But there's a dilemma here because Christ's sacrifice was meant to be a one-time event. So the idea of bringing back animal sacrifices during this period raises questions. Others argue that these chapters in Ezekiel might refer to the construction of the second temple or its reconstruction under Herod. However, there are differences in the design and size of the temple described in Ezekiel compared to historical temples, which makes it hard to match these interpretations. Another perspective is that these chapters symbolically represent the church. But when we look at historical events and what we observe today, they don't quite match up with the details presented in Ezekiel. So a revised viewpoint suggests that these chapters might be pointing to a future fulfillment, which remains to be seen. During the millennial reign of Christ, a special temple will be built in Israel. It's important to understand that during this time, Israel will no longer be divided, and God's presence will always be with them. While physical temples in the past were significant, the New Testament actually talks a lot about the idea that God's people are like a spiritual temple. A man named Paul explained this symbolism. Even when the physical temples in Babylon and Herod's time still existed, he emphasized that believers' bodies are like temples for the Holy Spirit. He wrote in 1 Corinthians 6:19 that our bodies belong to God. In 2 Corinthians 6:16, Paul declared that believers are the temple of the living God. Paul also talked about the church members growing into a holy temple in the Lord, as mentioned in Ephesians 2:21. This means that the construction of this spiritual temple is already happening, and it shows how significant it is for individuals to be part of God's dwelling place. While there might be a physical temple during the millennial reign, being a member of the spiritual temple, as Paul described, is really important. It's still uncertain if the Jewish people will build another physical temple before the second coming of Jesus Christ, but the construction of a spiritual temple, as mentioned by Paul, is ongoing, and there's a possibility of a new physical temple being built as well. So, both the spiritual and physical aspects are important in different ways. Lastly, remember this. Believing in Jesus can provide us with a profound sense of certainty, even in the face of uncertainty surrounding the construction of the third temple. Jesus taught us about faith, hope, and love, which are the cornerstones of a steadfast belief. In uncertain times, his teachings offer us a reassurance that our spiritual journey is guided by divine wisdom. Just as he demonstrated unwavering faith, we can trust in his message that through faith in God, we find strength to overcome any doubt. And that's all for now. Thanks for joining us in this video. If you found this content engaging, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking insights. And remember, your comments are invaluable to us, so share your thoughts below. Until next time, stay tuned for more intriguing stories.